Okay, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, the Village Council of Forest Parks regular meeting for Monday, January 26, 2026 will come to order. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able, please rise. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call.
Commissioner Maxim. Here. Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Mellon Rogovin.
Here.
Commissioner Vogt. Here. Mayor Hoskins.
Here. All right, approval of the minutes from January 12th. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovin. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Mellon Rogovin.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt. Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, is there any public comment tonight?
No.
Okay, no public comment. All right, commissioners, there's no formal communications before us tonight. Under department reports, it looks like the police department has submitted their report. Any comments or reaction to the police department report?
I just wanted to mention briefly as a commissioner who works, myself as somebody who works directly with the police department in streets and public improvements, the year report or the summary of the activities for the police department over the last year was very impressive and shows the depth and breadth of the enforcement activities of our police department. Any resident who is interested in understanding the full breadth and scope of the services and the work of our police department should review the minutes or the attached packet of our meeting tonight to see the breadth of the work that they do and truly the professionalism and the outstanding service they provide to our community. And, you know, I often talk to residents who, you know, only see a fraction of that work and, you know, want our police department to be of service in different areas. And I think it's really remarkable to see, and this is one example of ways that residents can see the scope and the breadth of the service of our police department. I just want to thank them for their service once again to our community.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. All right, we're now at bills by resolution. Deputy Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Forest Park, Cook County, Illinois, that we dispense with the reading of the individual bills inasmuch as each department head has approved and signed bills in the following aggregate amount for their respective departments. Refunds and allocations, $8,866.06. Public Affairs, $27,713.42. Police Department, $11,872.41. Community Center, $6,966.39. Clerk's Office, $380,469.31. Fire Department, $1,854.50. Department of Department of Health and Safety, $8,442.18. Streets and Public Improvements, $48,135.56. Public Property, $49,654.87. Seizure, $9,396.62. Federal Customs, $22,294.54. Fleet Replacement, $1,315. TIF, $20,349.45. VIP, $122,000. $187.49. Water Department, $1,256,161.69, for a total amount of $1,965,679.49.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Clerk. All right, Commissioners, is there a motion to adopt the resolution on the bills?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxham. Is there a second?
Nero, second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Ragoven,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution 4-26.
All right, Commissioners, we're moving down to unfinished business. The first item is an ordinance amending section 8-1-1 entitled Building Codes Adoption. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Ragoven. Is there a second?
Sure, Nero will second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion.
Is that a question?
Commissioner Vogt.
Um, so, for the most part, it seems, pretty, basic, adopting the new, updated codes, the ICC codes, but there's a couple of sections that are, recommended to be removed that I believe were added by the village. And I just needed a little bit more information on why we want to strike those, specifically about the sprinklers and then the carbon monoxide detector requirements. You have to turn it.
I believe I responded in writing. The both groups, discuss them again. Am I on here? Oh, there we go. The carbon monoxide, we're bound by Illinois state law, specifically the Carbon Monoxide Act. So there's really no reason to have that in our local adoptions. We follow multiple parts of state law as well as any adopted code. The sprinkler retrofit was was tricky. The language that was recommended was based on data sets called the means report and the means and okay, stick with the means report, which is cyclical. It's tied to markets. It's tied to value. It's arbitrary, and there really wasn't any way to actually apply that in the code. So we decided, in consultation with BNF, another important consideration here is sprinkler retrofits, which I believe years ago were dropped by Village of River Forest, completely changed the economics of your group. You could have architectural set, construction budget, and if you're forced into a sprinkler retrofit on a single family dwelling, you're talking about another $40,000. That's on a good thing. Okay. River Forest rationale was specifically economic. And here, you could say, I suppose there's a convenient argument for saying, well, this takes away from life safety. Well, the simple fact is, in the single family environment, sprinklers are specifically for property preservation. What we look for in improvements to single family residence is interconnected smoke detectors, early notification, and successful evacuation.
I guess one of my concerns is, the staff memo had said that the ICC updates focused on fire safety. And this was previously recommended by our consultants, by staff, and adopted by a previous council. So I would like to look into this a little bit more before we're getting rid of this. I know, talking to the fire chief, that the sprinkler systems can help put out the fire because, especially in newer construction, the possibility of collapse happens a lot more quickly with the, sort of lighter building materials is my understanding. So I do know that sprinklers save lives. I also understand that the cost, is increased. I've seen figures closer to like an extra 10 to 15,000, which,
Absolutely not it.
and I've also seen other municipalities have this requirement at 50%, and I know the villages is at 75%. Basically, I just want to make sure that we're thoroughly looking into this and making sure that we're making the right call before we're removing this from the code. I don't know, I know I asked Administrator Entler when this was added to the code. I don't know if you recall. 2010. Okay. I mean, has this been enforced?
No.
Not at all.
No. It can't be. It's arbitrary. It's cyclical. You've got a down market. The numbers are all going to be different. You have an up market. And that's simply not fair to the individual homeowner.
Well, but the code says you have to meet all of these conditions. It doesn't just say that
New
one.
Construction still requires 100% sprinkler protection from single family to multi.
And this applies to when a building goes through change of use. So it could be going from a single family to a multifamily or vice versa.
Well, not without the zoning changes. The two are connected.
And there's also a requirement where you do not have to put sprinklers in if you're at least 20 feet from a neighbor. So even if your argument is single family, if you're closer to your neighbors and you're remodeling your home, 75% of the entire home, and you're putting in these lighter materials, it might interest the public to be having these sprinklers put in.
This is not really a conversation tonight.
No,
I
it's
think we
not, but
have-
I'm just
we have
making
a
my case for
fundamental
why I think we
lack of
should
understanding
remove
in new
this.
construction And how a new building is more fire safe.
No, I'd love to have that conversation. That's what I'm saying. We didn't get any of this, information, so.
If you want to leave it in the code, I'm happy to leave it in the code. The bottom line is, we don't even need to adopt the 2020. Because the Capital Review Board has basically come out and codified in Illinois law that we have to follow the state building code. Fine here, you've got an opinion, but we're already legally bound to follow. Happened since January. So
Correct.
leave
And
it
this
in.
isn't in it. This is a local
I'm
ordinance.
happy to leave it in. Happy to leave it in.
I guess I just bring this up because I would like to have a little bit more in-depth conversation about this to better understand what we're doing. I know we are supposed to take into consideration recommendations from our consultants and staff, but in 2010, they recommended that this was a good idea. And I just want to know why it's not anymore.
It was a trial.
It was a what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
And like I said, I'm happy to leave it in the code. Let it be somebody else's problem next time. If you want something that's more restrictive, go ahead and make a motion to amend the code to do a 50%. And then
I'm not saying I
and
want
then
something more
stand back
restrictive.
As home improvements grind to a standstill. You've already succeeded in doing that with the zoning.
You're putting words in my mouth, but I would be more comfortable adopting the ICC codes, removing this section until we can have a little bit more information about that.
Can
wanna
I-
hear from-
can I-
Hold a second. Council, go ahead.
Can I just offer,
No, removing striking, keeping it in.
I was just gonna offer, Steve touched on a point that, this village is behind its obligation to pass these updated building codes, okay? There's no, penalty, but, at this point. That's why you've undertaken this and that's where you're at right now. But, this conversation of sprinkler is a complicated one, not just this village, for every village. I mean, it's a tough issue for construction cost and everything else. It's clearly up to this council if they want to make that motion to amend, like you discussed. You can make the motion seconded, or I would maybe approve it the way it is and just table this issue for further discussion when you have more information, instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater by not doing the whole code. If that makes sense.
It does. It's just,
Yeah.
this is a local ordinance. It's not part of the,
Yeah, I get it. So your options are make the motion to amend, the way you're suggesting, and see where that goes. And if you're still not happy with the results, you can always just take this up and make further amendments to your building code, right? When you have more and better information. And I don't know what that is for everyone, and I guess I leave it to the council to bring up their own comments on that.
So Nick, can I ask you a question? Is that okay? So what you're suggesting is that we, or a possibility for us is to pass it as it is right now, and then have further discussions about the sprinklers.
That's an option, correct?
Okay.
Unless there's a motion made and a second, and then you have to undertake whether to amend it right now.
Okay,
And you can do the same thing. You can undertake the discussion later to take it back out again.
Okay.
But then, you're setting the stage right now for what construction day after tomorrow is going to be if you act tonight.
can I make another comment, Mayor? Okay, I want to say, this is, I know, sometimes I've brought things up in a meeting last minute because I hadn't looked at it ahead of time. I can't support a motion to amend because I haven't done the research that you clearly have and looked into this as deeply. I've trusted staff and then, our consultants who wrote this. I looked over the changes that were suggested by Commissioner Mellon McGovern. But the last I heard from Village Administrator Entler, there were no more questions or concerns related to this. So that was the last information I got, that those 4 changes in blue was the last of it. And they were non-substantive changes. It was adding 2 URLs, adding the name of a consultant, and changing a date. So nothing really was being changed substantially from the original changes that the consultant had made. Comfortable with that, ready to go. So I don't know enough about sprinklers to approve, to amend it tonight. So I will not be able to do that. My vote would be then to approve it as is, based on the expert advice of our department head who's right here and the consultants who wrote it, and then amend it later if we choose to do that.
well, and I would just say that, I'm doing the best that I can to do as research when I can. I've had, we've all had pretty crazy work schedules, especially this past month. But I don't have the information either, which is why I'm asking for sort of a stay here. To vote on this as written, it's removing those requirements. Now, it's kind of moot because apparently it's never been enforced. But my goal is to leave it in, approve the ICC, get, up to par with where we need to be there, but leave the local ordinance as it is until we can do some more research to understand what suits this community. The village council at the time went with the recommendations of staff and their consultants who said to do it. Now we're hearing that we shouldn't. And so I'm just trying to figure out what has changed in that time and what is the best thing for Forest Park. And I need more information just like you do. So we don't need to drag this out any further. I'll just move to amend the motion, if I may, to adopt the code, but to, I don't know how you would phrase it, reinstate the portion on sprinklers that's
Before we
been
do
removed.
that, can I make another comment or no?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I think I hear you, and it is a time crunch for everyone with jobs and everything. And I too would like information more on this for sure. I think where the sticking point for me is when I hear somebody say this is going to impede development, and we are at a really low point for development right now. We are suffering financially in ways.
But he's
I
already
don't
said it's
think-
not being enforced.
I
So-
just, can I finish? In ways that I don't think this village has ever seen. And I don't think most people in the community are aware of. We're in a really desperate situation, and anything we do that can impede development, I think we need to think really carefully about. So again, I do not want to amend it. I want to leave it as is. And then if we decide after doing more research that we want to remove it, then, or put it back in, we can do that.
I mean, you said, I'm kind of confused here. I find it fascinating. This is a great forum. You got some questions. You got a guy here that used to be the fire chief. I mean, it doesn't get more expert than that in terms of life safety, fire code, fire safety, sprinkler systems. So you can ask him anything you want. And I believe that he gave you some answers and then you disagreed with him, but he's the expert, right? And so was the planner. And so, yes, I'm sure you could make some kind of argument that sprinkler systems save lives, but unless you have a fundamental understanding how they work. What saves lives is early detection, right? Your smoke alarms, your heat alarms. It takes a while for the mechanism in those sprinkler systems to heat up enough to get them to trigger to go off. And by then, it's probably too late. And so and I think Director Glinke articulated that. But above and beyond that, if the argument is, well, they don't enforce it anyway, well, what are we talking about then? And then lastly, I think just put yourself in this position of a resident, right? We have absolutely handcuffed development in the town. And so if a resident wants to make some property upgrades to their home, substantial property upgrades, we're saying, nope, you can't do that unless you retrofit your home with a sprinkler detection system. Well, that's a no-go, man. I mean, that's a significant, you have to rip open walls and sections of the property that otherwise maybe you didn't want to touch, and you have to run plumbing, and there's a significant financial implication to that. And so I would suggest, air out your questions now, or get to a place maybe where you feel comfortable, or at least I thought Director Glinke answered them for you. And so if you're not getting the answers from our resident department head expert, what are you going to do over the next X amount of days to make yourself feel comfortable? Right? I mean, I struggle sitting here, Jessica, with you on the zoning stuff. You get I feel like you get a little personal with it, and I respect that you want to do the research. Okay. But at some point you could do the research, but you have to understand that there's people that we pay that are experts in this industry that do this for a living, and they're making recommendations to you, and then you're fighting it, and you want to kick it down the road to do your own research. So what? So your research can maybe in 6 months corroborate with what the experts said. Are you going to become an expert in a couple of months' time because you did some reading? I don't understand where we're going with this.
I think I would first say that the issue and why this stuck out to me is that it was recommended by our consultant, by staff 10, 15 years ago. And now we're being asked to undo it. And all I'm trying to get is information so that we can make the right decisions. I spoke with our fire chief. I've heard about the dangers that they face going into newer construction buildings and how they can collapse a lot more quickly. I'm concerned about development, but I'm also concerned about safety. I'm concerned about neighbors. I'm concerned about our first responders. And I have to do a lot of research because I don't often get robust answers. I get short answers, unenforceable, doesn't work, just pass it. So yeah, I do have to do a little bit more digging to try to inform myself. But this is seriously just asking for us to pause and consider what this change means. And on a bigger scale, why isn't it being enforced and what else isn't being enforced? You talk about the concerns of
Ryan, hold up. When one commissioner is speaking, The council needs to let that commissioner finish.
All right,
And then
great.
then
So at the end of the
stop
day, you know
talking.
what? I'm tired of Rory. You sit here every bi-weekly and you have no opinion about anything. You make no comment about anything. And as soon as I speak up to try to
We're going to have decorum here. And if you can't respect decorum, then you can leave, Commissioner. Okay. Now, everyone gets a chance to speak once on the issue. And then I'm going to call for a vote. Commissioner Rogovan, do you have something you want to say?
We're talking about the building code. The building code only at this moment. I think it's perfectly fine if someone is reviewing and preparing for a meeting to bring questions and ask for additional clarification. May not be ideal, but we've all done it. And I think part of collegiality is understanding that we need additional clarification. We all do our best to do a good job. And I think we're all doing what we want to do and do our best to serve the community. I think it's important to get our questions answered. Where we go from here about either leaving the sprinklers in or taking them out. I think it's fine to be able to say that the sprinklers as a local issue or a local ordinance and how we want to address those require additional discussion, and how we address that. It's fine to consider that separately. And at the end of the day, we all have a vote, and we can discuss our particular points of view. We don't always have to understand our particular points of view, and we can disagree. But at the end of the day, how we express our points of view and how we want to represent the village is in our vote. Thank you.
All right, at this point, the chair is prepared to call for a vote. Are you going to make a motion to amend, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay, make your motion.
I move to amend to adopt the ICC building code updates. I don't know how to phrase it, Nick, to reinstate
The deleted section.
section on sprinklers, the local ordinance sprinkler section.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Now the chair will take a vote on the motion to amend only.
So we're voting on the motion to amend.
Only, right? Not
Right.
the actual body. Of the
Correct.
ordinance.
Commissioner Maxim,
No.
Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
No.
So back to the main.
All right, so now we're back to the main motion. Are there any further comments on the main motion, on the merits of the code? All right, Chair will entertain a vote.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance 3-26.
All right, Commissioners, before we proceed, what I'm going to ask is that we maintain a level of decorum. When the commissioner is speaking, just let them finish. Everyone's going to have a point to speak. Generally, you should ask to be recognized by the chair. That's kind of how you conduct meetings under Robert's rules. No commissioner up here is forced to say anything that they don't want to say. or to offer an opinion if they don't want to offer an opinion. Now, having said that, we're going to move on to new business. And the chair will entertain a motion. Actually, we're going to present a proclamation honoring the retirement of Karen Deluski.
Meg.
Please.
Proclamation honoring the retirement of Karen Deluski, Director of the Howard Moore Community.
Take your time.
Microphone.
I think they were both left on. I think that one might be out too. Let's see.
It is. I'm gonna come to. Whereas Karen Deluski devoted 25 years of distinguished service to the Village of Forest Park, including nearly 20 years as director of the Howard Moore Community Center. And whereas throughout her tenure, Karen Deluski ensured that the Howard Moore Community Center served as a welcoming, inclusive, and vital resource for residents of all ages, truly becoming the heart of the Forest Park community. And whereas under her leadership, the community center provided essential services to seniors, including wellness and exercise programs, safety and fraud prevention education, free tax assistance, elder law seminars, transportation assistance, benefits navigation, medical support services, and social programming that promoted independence and connection. And whereas Karen Deluski also strengthened the lives of children and families by overseeing before school, after school, and summer childcare programs, homework assistance, youth enrichment activities, field trips, and community celebrations. And whereas the community center, guided by her compassion and leadership, served as a critical safety net by operating food and clothing pantries, delivering food to the homebound residents, assisting families with eyeglasses and basic needs, and serving as a Red Cross and Salvation Army site for emergency assistance, housing, utilities, and energy assistance programs. And whereas Karen Deluski fostered civic engagement by opening the community center to serve as a voting precinct and a home for numerous community service, youth, veterans, and support organizations, while personally exemplifying service through her involvement with Kiwanis and her tireless advocacy for those in need. Now, therefore, Rory Hoskins, Mayor of the Village of Forest Park, on behalf of the Village Council and the residents of Forest Park, do hereby proclaim our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Karen Deluski for her exceptional dedication, leadership, and compassion. And be it further proclaimed that Karen Deluski is recognized for her lasting impact on the Village of Forest Park and for truly being the center of the community, leaving a legacy of service that will continue to benefit generations to come. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the sealed Village of Forest Park to be affixed this 26th day of January 2026. Mayor Rory Hoskins, Village of Forest Park.
Thank you, Administrator Etler. This proclamation, of course, doesn't require a vote, but if anyone wants to say anything about Karen, even though she's not here, in terms of how we feel about her retirement, now is the time. And we'll go in the order of our commission reports if anyone wants to say anything.
Yes, I'll make it brief. Karen is amazing. And I'm just going to say some of my favorite things about her. My first favorite thing about her is that she never gets tied up in like meetings and bureaucracy and let's talk about how to fix this problem ad nauseum, right? She sees a problem and she goes out and she fixes the problem. If there's a person that needs help, she helps them. She doesn't get tied up in all the politics and everything that everyone else seems to get, bound down by. And she never says no to anybody. I've never, ever heard her say, that's not my job. She goes out and she does things that most of us wouldn't even dream about doing and cleans out houses and helps people in situations that, are unbelievable and never asks for credit. And in fact, asks not to be mentioned for things. I remember when I worked for the newspaper, there were stories that I did or things I heard about. And I went to her and said, I want to do a story on this because I heard you did X, Y, Z, and it's fantastic. And she said, Maria, please don't write that story. I don't want that kind of recognition. Instead, why don't you write about this and tell people how they can help with this problem? And so in many ways, and I'm not going to articulate any more of them. She has been such a huge asset to the village, government and how the village employees and how we work, but to the town as a whole, and even the bigger community beyond that. And so she's amazing, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero?
Yes, sir. Karen, truly a model of humility, for sure. Many blessings to you and to your family, and I wish you health and happiness in your retirement.
Commissioner Mellon McGovern?
Yes, Karen Delusky is the model and example of true community service. And I think many of us have a Karen Delusky story of how she helped us in our time of need or knows somebody who has been helped at the community center. And she has creative, loving, positive energy, and thinks of ways to help people that they themselves couldn't identify, but then improve their lives in a way that was long lasting and substantial. And she's helped so many generations of families in our community. And I'm just in awe of the energy that she's brought to the community center and the example that she has has instilled in the generations of kids who have been working at the community center and the employees that will continue now that she's retired. Thank you, Karen.
Commissioner Vogt?
Yeah, Karen Delusky is a force. And she's certainly just a big ball of light and energy, and she is so proud of her kids at the community center and so supportive of her colleagues and everyone in the community. And she will certainly be missed here. She's just had an amazing amount of support and service to our community. And she has touched so many lives in Forest Park and beyond. And I think we'll all be eternally grateful to her for that. And we wish her a happy retirement. And I just want to thank her for her kindness to me as, a resident and in this position. And yeah, happy retirement, Karen.
All right. So I think everyone has pretty much said it in terms of how they feel about Karen. She's obviously a very hardworking person, not afraid to put in long hours to get things done. She's personally touched my family in that my wife and I have sent all 4 of our kids to the community center. And so she's pretty much watched all 4 of our kids. And of course, she hired my daughter to be a counselor at some point. And then when my daughter was working in another state, Karen provided a job reference. And so she knows my wife and my kids and I very well. And we've all grown together. We got through COVID together. She knew me from the time when I was a commissioner up until now. But now she's going to be a full-time grandparent. And I think she prefers that. So I want to congratulate Karen on her promotion to full-time grandparent. And having said that, we'll move on to the next item. All right, the chair will entertain a motion on an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of an advertise and sales contract with Clear Channel. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Maxham. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Discussion on the advertiser sales contract with Clear Channel. All right, there's no discussion. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance 4-26.
Commissioners, next item is a resolution authorizing the contract award for the 2025 lead service replacement project, Stage 3 to Five Star Energy Services. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution 5-26.
All right, Commissioners, next item is a resolution approving pay request number 3 for the 2025 Green Alley Project to Narduli Construction. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution 6-25. 6-26, sorry. Thanks, Nick.
I'm in the wrong year still.
Commissioners, next item is a resolution authorizing pay request number 10 for the water meter replacement project to Verigy. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution 7-26.
All right, Commissioners, next item is a resolution approving pay request number 1 for the 2025 sidewalk improvement project. And this one's to Andreas and Sons. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution 8-26.
All right, Commissioners, next item is a resolution authorizing and approving pay request number 2 for the 2025 lead service replacement project, Stage 2 to Five Star Energy. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt, Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution 9-26.
All right, Commissioners, next item is a resolution authorizing and approving pay request number 2 for the 2025 lead service replacement project, Stage 2 to Five Star Energy Services. Is there a motion?
I think it's pay request number 3. We just did pay request number 2. Sorry. Just
Resolution approving pay request number 3. This is item 9
correct.
for 2025 lead service replacement, Stage 2 to Five Star Energy. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? All right, there's no discussion. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Mellon Rogovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution 10-26.
Commissioners, next item is approval of a request for participation in the vehicle sticker donation request. This will benefit the food pantry of Forest Park. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxham. Is there a second?
Sure, Nero, second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion?
I think it's a great idea and I highly support it.
Does anyone else want to express their opinion? You're not obligated to, but you can. Deputy Clerk.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Mellon Ragovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, Commissioners, next item is an approval, motion to approve the use of the public way. This will benefit Living Word Christian Center as well as O'Sullivan's and the Forest Park Arts Alliance. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Ragovan. Discussion?
I'm just curious, last time Living Word Christian Center tried to put in, we approved their use of way, but then somehow they hadn't submitted a map and we didn't. It was a whole big cluster. I'm wondering if we're sure that this time it's not going to be like that again.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very valid question. We had requested that they start earlier in the process this year. And so this is not supposed to take place until the fall so that we can make sure that they have everything that they need. Part of the issue last year was they had requested that part of Des Plaines Avenue be blocked off, and that required IDOT permission. And so if in fact they are, last year we did it without the village blocking off any of Des Plaines. And so that would certainly be my preference. But if they are seeking IDOT permission to do so by approving their use of the sidewalk now, that gives them ample time to be able to request that from the Illinois Department of Transportation.
Yeah, when I saw their map, the map didn't include Des Plaines. So yeah, it was fine.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Mellon Ragovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, Commissioners, final item under new business this evening is approval of community center trips to the Fireside Theater. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxham. Is there a second?
Sure, Nero, second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion? Deputy Clerk.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Mellon Ragovan,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, we're at administrators report.
If I could just very briefly say something about Karen Deluski. This will be my third department head retirement since I started here 4 years ago. And I have to say, I think that those who have retired from the village, they are people who have been here a really long time and have meant a lot to the village. Karen has personally had an enormous effect on me when I was going through my own cancer journey. And there are not enough words for me to express to her the impact that she has had on my family and myself. And so I'm sure that sentiment resounds with a lot of people in this community. She could not be here tonight, so I will make sure that your messages get back to her as well. We got some expected but somewhat unexpected snow this weekend. Sal and I were in communication Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the weather kind of changed on us leading into Sunday morning. And so we got a lot of snow in a short period of time. So I just want to give a shout out to Public Works for being on the streets round the clock for the past couple of days here, and then showing up to work today and, continuing to clean up. Lastly, we are in the midst of our water meter change out. And one of the positives that is coming from this is that we now get alerts when people have high usage. And so we were first thing this morning able to contact 3 residents who we had gotten alert about high water usage over the weekend. And we suspected that their pipes had frozen and burst over the weekend. So one of the things that we're working on is there will be a customer portal where our residents will be able to set the alerts themselves in addition to the village getting those alerts. So I just want to, again, thank the council for approving the water meter project. It has been a project for sure, and we're making our ways through it. But today was one of those days that we got to see why we're doing this. It's unfortunate that we had residents who had pipes burst over the weekend, but I think by having this program in place, we were certainly able to let them know so that they didn't continue having these water leaks. One of the residents is an unoccupied tenant housing that nobody was there. And so had we not been able to contact them today, they would have likely continued to have water issues there. So just a reminder to residents in this cold weather, continue checking your pipes, drip your pipes. If you have exterior facing pipes, make sure that they're insulated. Keep your house, they say to open cabinet doors and open your bedroom doors so that you have heat circulating so that your pipes don't freeze. That's all I have.
Thank you, Administrator. All right, we're at Commissioner reports. Commissioner Maxim.
Yeah, I would like to just mention 2 things that happened with the fire department, and they performed exceptionally, as they always do. But there was a fire, and it sounds kind of weird to say that, a fire is sort of unusual for a fire department, but they respond to a lot more things other than fires than they do to fires. But there was a, fairly significant fire on January 12th that they responded to. And then we talked about that at the last meeting, but then a little more sort of fun to talk about was the infield delivery that they did of a baby. A mother had gone into labor, and they delivered the baby safely, and everybody was fine. And according to the chief, the baby's name is Olivia, and everyone's doing really well. But the chief sent an email saying what a great job the department had done in both these situations. And I want to thank Chief Hankus for, keeping me updated on what's going on in the department, but also thank the department as a whole for working as hard as you do. I know there's tons of calls that we talk about all the time, but, I don't just talk about it, I think about it. And I understand that you guys are really, really busy and you're really overworked. I get that. And I know that. And I know it sounds like it's just words, but I feel that for you. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you, Chief Hankus, for running the department so well.
Thank you, Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to bring up the zoning code update again. It was back in December, the council meeting for the holidays. We had talked about the report that was put together, which I thought really was comprehensive. I think it addressed a lot of the concerns of the commissioners. But after my commissioner report, it appeared that wasn't the case. During Commissioner Vogel's report, it seemed like there was still some issue or some questions or comments, and Michelle or Commissioner Mellon Mergovin's body language suggested that she agreed with that. So to that extent, since that readout or since that commissioner report, there's been no questions, comments, or anything that's come to the department, at least that I'm aware of, or to the village administrator. On the issue of so either we're not on the same page, or maybe I'm confused, or maybe the questions were answered in a way that perhaps we just still aren't happy with. And so I've got a couple of options there. We could frame it in a way whereas if there's an issue with a topic or a section of the zoning code, then provide to the department what your recommendation is, and then the backup to substantiate that recommendation. That would be helpful at a minimum. or provide additional questions so that we could get perhaps clarification, which I think that we're already there with. On the issue of transparency, again, I haven't had a resident or public meeting or open meeting, that kind of thing. Haven't had any residents, either in public comment or via email or phone call, reach out again to myself or the department. That doesn't mean there isn't any concern. And so to alleviate that, what I would suggest, and I'd flip it to you folks here at the council, my recommendation is to send it back to PZC, and let's have a joint meeting. And we can invite the public. It's an open meeting, and if they have questions or comments, that forum affords them the opportunity to go ahead and speak. I think that would satisfy that issue if that one's still lingering. And then with the hopes of getting back on track with the zoning code, so we can chase down some developments and realize some of that very, very much needed property tax revenue. End of report.
Thank you, Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Mellon McGovan.
Thank you. With regard to Commissioner Nero, I would invite you not to, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. And please let me know that you'd like to have a conversation. I have not had, we haven't talked, but interpreting my body language is probably not the best way of understanding my thoughts or ideas. So I'm happy to start with a conversation, and I think that's a good next step. I'd like to report on my activities in the last couple of weeks. We had a traffic and safety meeting this past week. We have worked on some driver safety or street safety issues. One is specifically, of course, we've had a lot of snow, which has been a driver safety issue or street safety issue in particular. Want to also just highlight the need to be aware as you're driving around town, pedestrians in particular, and speed in particular is an issue around town, and being aware of speed as we're driving in the snow. And I think as we've been aware the last couple of months, it's dark, it's hard to see pedestrians and kids. So please be aware, especially in bad weather, but also in the winter months, that we need to be extra careful when we're driving around town. February 18th in Village Hall, we're going to have a public meeting that everyone is invited to attend. Our Traffic and Safety Commission has a strategic plan that we're working on, and we want to help the public understand, or our citizens understand, residents, how to bring questions and concerns to the Traffic and Safety Commission. If you have a question about how street safety affects you in the village, how the Traffic and Safety Commission reviews street safety questions. On February 18th at 7 p.m., you can come to meet the Traffic and Safety Commission and find out how our process works. And some of the other things we're working on, including bike safety and pedestrian safety and traffic flow. I also attended the D91 Citizens Advisory Council and worked at the PTO Day of Service on MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day, and that was a fantastic event celebrating community and feeding our community. We packed 35,000 meals in 2.5 hours. So that was a wonderful event to bring together about 200 volunteers. So a lot going on in the village, and please participate in the traffic and safety activities going on in the village, and join us February 18th.
Thank you, Commissioner Mellon. We'll go over Commissioner Vogt.
Thanks. So I guess quickly to address Commissioner Nero, your inaction is not my responsibility. For almost a year now, we keep coming to these meetings and you say that you haven't received any questions or any comments or any suggestions. And we refer back to the questions, comments, and suggestions that we sent at the end of 24, in May of 25. So just ignoring those doesn't make them go away. This is held up because you're not responding. So I'm at my wit's end here. I mean, and give me a call, let's talk about this, but I have sent my questions, I have sent my concerns, I have sent my suggestions on how I think we can move forward, and we get nothing back. So I'm at a loss at this point. And then I would also say that we're all different people. We all have different styles and approaches to holding this office and how we serve our community. And I'm guilty. I try to do research. I try to be as informed as possible. I have no interest in being a rubber stamp or voting a certain way because I was told to. And that's me. But I hope, however everybody else up here approaches this office, we can all meet each other with some sort of common decency and respect for the fact that we're up here volunteering our time and trying to serve our community. And I know that approach looks differently coming from all of us. So, New Year's resolution, I'm hoping maybe we can all try to work together to get these things solved and moving forward instead of attacking each other. Then I will also say, echoing Administrator Entler, I just want to thank Sal and Public Works because we've had a lot of really horrible weather, and I hear the guys working all through the night. So I appreciate everybody, and I know you're on top of it, but I hope they're staying safe and warm, and we appreciate their efforts. Along with everybody else who is out in the elements, obviously our first responders as well. Stay warm, stay safe. If you need a cup of coffee, call me. But thank you very much for everything that you guys do. And then one thing I forgot, and it's right about this time in the meeting. One thing that I loved about Karen is just about when Rory's about to say he'll entertain a motion to adjourn, I would hear her keys come out of her purse. And I certainly miss that. And again, just we wish her all the best. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, February 7th is the West Central Municipal Conference Legislative Breakfast. Most of you know that we're members of the West Central Municipal Conference. It's a council of government. It brings together all the governments from Leiden Township, Lyons Township, and Proviso Township. And February 7th Legislative Breakfast is an excellent time for networking, to rekindle relationships with our government colleagues. It'll be attended by both elected and appointed officials from throughout the region, including a number of members of Congress. So I know that Megan sent out a note asking commissioners if you want to attend. The village will have a table. If you can possibly fit it in your schedule, you might consider whether or not you can attend. As I think many of you know, I attend at least a monthly mayor's luncheon. And at our last mayor's luncheons a couple of weeks ago. Our guest was the Cook County Board President, President Tony Preckwinkle. And we had 12 mayors there. And she was generally taking questions from the group. And I decided to take the opportunity to update her on some of the call volumes that our fire department was experiencing at 7-Eleven Des Plaines, the Blue Line Terminal. And just a few days prior, Chief Hankus had shared with me that between July 1 and January 5th, there had been 273 calls to 7-Eleven Des Plaines, and that the majority were between 10 a.m. and 6 a.m. So I communicated that to President Preckwinkle, while also thanking her, for her advocacy and positioning us to have a say in the recently passed transit legislation. And so when she considered the numbers and what our fire department was going through, and I said clearly that those call volumes were not sustainable for our 27-member fire department with 2 engines, well, an engine, a truck, and an ambulance, right? She said, clearly, you need to be part of the public safety task force. So about 2 hours later, I got a call from her legislative director, and we talked through a little bit more about Forest Park's challenges. The next day, I got a call from the Cook County Sheriff's Office, and we were invited to be part of the public safety task force and the larger discussions, Commissioner. So last Tuesday, Administrator Entler, Chief Gross, and Chief Hankus and I met with a couple of representatives from the Cook County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office is tasked with leading the public safety task force, which may or may not end up recommending that the new Northern Illinois Transit Authority actually stand up its own sworn law enforcement department. So we offered our input, and it was a really wide-ranging discussion. Most of it was done by the police chief and the fire chief. The Cook County Sheriff's Office, it turns out they've been actually riding the CTA trains, and they're focused on trying to measure or at least determine or interpret what they consider to be the rider experience, which I think is admirable. They want to know how riders perceive their experience on the train before making safety recommendations. We also talked about the fire department's safety protocols. They were very attentive and listening to that. We talked about interoperability in terms of communication systems. We talked about how CTA relays its 911 reports versus maybe Metra, right? They don't do it quite the same way. And again, this new board, this Northern Illinois Transit Authority, is tasked with making all these communications more uniform among the 3 transit systems, CTA, PACE, and Metra. It was our chance to offer our opinions on how they could better utilize the facility at 7-Eleven Des Plaines. And I shared with them that, we'd like to see CTA actually station an ambulance overnight to relieve our firefighters. I don't know that they will or won't, but at least we suggested it as a recommendation. It went into the record. We're going to continue to advocate for that. So I want to thank, again, the chiefs, Chief Hankus and Chief Gross. Thanks for participating last week. And of course, Administrator Entler, I appreciate you being there as well. They made clear that they'll be talking to the other suburban communities, but they acknowledged that Forest Park's situation was unique. The following week, I had the opportunity to watch the acting president of CTA give a presentation to a lunch forum downtown. They talked a lot about, believe it or not, the rider experience or safety measures on the train. So at least, that message is making it out. So we're going to continue to focus and try to bring some relief to our fire department. So I'm glad that you all are here tonight. Moving on to a different topic. I was invited to hear a presentation. I was a guest of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, the Glen Ellen chapter. They invited several mayors to hear a presentation by Illinois' chief homelessness officer. Most people probably don't know that Illinois has a chief homelessness officer, but we're one of 34 states that actually does. And they're trying to address that in part through transit by making transit-oriented development in terms of residential more affordable. And the short of it is that numerous studies have indicated that homelessness is in large part caused by a lack of affordable housing. You know, in jurisdictions throughout the country, we've seen urban renewal, which often results in houses being knocked down, but that housing stock generally is not replenished. And so it was a fascinating discussion about homelessness and how governments can respond. So that's my report for tonight. That concludes my report. And at this point, get the keys ready. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes, sir. Nero will make that motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I will second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxham. Deputy Clerk?
Commissioner Maxham?
Aye.
Commissioner Nero? Commissioner Mellon Rogovin?
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt? Mayor Hoskins?
Aye, we're adjourned.